Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Shelly and I sew and run a small business and I make videos here on YouTube. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then keep watching. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Okay, so today's video is, I say super exciting way too much, so I'm trying to not say super exciting, even though it actually is super exciting. So anyways, today's video is going to be fun and I'm going to be making a top. And I've never actually made like a shirt before. I've made shorts, I've made coats, a skirt, I made an overall dress. I don't think I've ever made a top before. So this is going to be super duper easy because I, for one, have watched a video on someone who already did this, and I will put the video up here. And she made it look super easy, but also this is like the perfect top. I feel like it is just super cute, and I can make one in every different kind of fabric and color, and I just feel like I need a top that is not a t-shirt because I own thousands of t-shirts and I need a nice blouse that I enjoy wearing because the blouses that I have them because I feel like I need them because every now and then you need a nice blouse for something. And so yes, I'm going to make this blouse and hopefully, fingers crossed, it turns out perfect. And fingers crossed that I love it and fingers crossed that I want to make 20 more. Okay, so first things first, I need to take some measurements to figure out how big the rectangles need to be. And then what else? So measurements. And then before I actually start making the top, and every fabric is different. So what I am gonna do is do like a little sample piece of fabric and see how it ends up looking, because I don't even think I've mentioned this yet. I'm gonna be using elastic thread. So this is going to be a shirred top, and every fabric shirrs differently. So I'm going to do like a test piece of fabric, do some lines. We'll see how much that actually shrinks. I wonder if that'll throw my measurements off, because I was thinking of just using the same measurements that she used, which might be fine. I don't know. We'll see. Because I don't think she did that in the video. I don't think she did like a test piece of fabric. So I think I'll still test out the shirring capabilities of the fabric, and I'll still probably use the same measurements depending on the results I get. So first things first is I need to do the measurements. And I think I'll just do the measurements with my sweater on so I don't have to take it off, but also so even if there is extra however much, that still gives me room to mess up. And it's better for it to be a little too big than a little too small. So I want it to be up high. I think they call that a boat neck, but I've already showed you the inspiration. But yes, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and measure up here. Kind of want it to go like down to right here, maybe. So that is 22 inches. Is that too long? It can always be, okay, like I said, it's better to have too much than too little. But I don't want it to be cropped or anything. I just want it to like feel perfect. So I'm going to do 22 inches. That's the length. So let me write that down. Let's see. So my length is going to be 22. Okay, so my length is going to be 22 inches. And then we're going to add 2 inches for hemming is what she said. So that'll be 24 inches for my final length. And then now we're going to do the bust measurement. So I'm just going to bring it around town, make sure it's nice and flat. And then I think she just measured up like this. So if this says 39, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 39. And so she said for this part, you're going to divide that bust measurement by 2. So 39 divided by 2 is, so 19.5. So what we're going to do is go ahead and do 19.5, and then we're going to add 5 inches is what she did. So 19.5 plus 5 is, great, 24.5. So 24.5, and then, so that means that the length of the fabric is going to be, or the width is going to be 24.5. Interesting. So this is almost going to be a square. Weird. And then so one other measurement that she did in the video was for the armhole. So basically she just measured from the top of her shoulder to the middle of her armpit, and then that is 9.5 inches. She said to add 2 inches to that, so that'll be 11.5 inches. So I'll just make sure to make the arm curve 11.5 inches to account for seam allowance, because she said that she didn't do that, and she did, her armhole was 8 inches. She did the 8 inches, and then it ended up being the armhole was too small because of the seam allowance, so add 2 inches to the armhole. Let me show you what fabric I'm going to use. So I got this really pretty seersucker fabric from Hobby Lobby, and I like all the fun colors on it. It's super soft, and I am super excited to use this. So, and I think I'm going to do the stripes vertical. When I was a kid, I was told that horizontal stripes are a no-no. So vertical stripe is the way I'm going to go. Also, this is not a tutorial because I don't even know what I'm doing. I was planning on making one of these before actually making this video, just so I knew what I was doing, but I have waited too long, in my opinion. I've just been super busy with other things that have been going on, but so we're doing this for the first time together, and hopefully it turns out good. I did end up purchasing a few hemming foots. So it was like a 3-pack, and I think it was like $5 or something. I'm not too sure. I'll leave a link in my description box, and I'll also have it in my Amazon storefront in my like sewing favorites and stuff like that. But I decided to get some because I knew that since I don't have a serger, there's only a few options that I have as far as doing my own hems without completely going crazy. So we'll see that in action in this video as well. I did already practice with the hemming foot and watch a tutorial video, which I'll also leave a link in the description if you are interested in getting a hemming foot and want to watch the video on how to do it. The one I watched, I'll leave a link in the description. But so we're going to break out the hemming foots today as well. So just to remind everybody, it's going to be 24.5 wide and then 24-inch length tall. Wait, no, 24 inches long, 24.5 wide. Okay, Shellee, stop messing with the lines. Okay. Okay.
Perfect bodies in the shallow blue, drifting faster than they should. Golden hour paints a dreamlike view. Even dreams start fading.
Just gonna go ahead and line up my ruler right along this pink line right here, and then I'm basically just gonna make sure that it's all lining up with this pink line, and then I'm just gonna cut along that edge. Boop. And got rid of that piece. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another one of these. This looks so weird. Why does it look like I cut this wrong? I'm just gonna write it in for the neck, just so I can remember. Perfect. So I'm gonna just cut one more of these. I was hoping to have enough left over to do like a matching skirt or something, but I don't think that is gonna be possible because I have almost nothing left.
Treading water, yeah, what's the use? I just say playing these games. Slow drip soft in the light. Come on, maybe
Great. So these should be the same size, and then I'm just gonna label this other one neck as well, just so I know. And then I'll go ahead and cut the armhole too, like she did. So basically what she did is she folded them over and just cut all at once. So that's what I'm gonna do. Make sure these are all lined up. Basically this doesn't really have to be like perfect. She just kind of measured the length of the armhole like this. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. I'm gonna make a mark right here. I think that's a fine looking armhole, don't you think? Make my mark right here. I'm gonna kind of connect these. Like so. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Okay, lovely. So now that gives me something like this. Oh my gosh, I really hope this turns out good. What I'm gonna do next is probably just draw my shirring lines, but before I actually start shirring, I'm going to hem it all. I'm gonna hem it all, and so that will just give me less of a headache later whenever everything is like shirred together. Basically, what she did in the video to get the look we are trying to achieve is marked some lines starting with 1/2 inch lines. So basically you start 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch line and then another 1/2 inch line, and then you skip a whole inch, draw a line, and then do more 1/2 inch lines. So it's like 3 lines right here, skip an inch, 3 lines, skip an inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, skip a whole inch. So I'm basically gonna do that all the way down, and then I'm gonna do more, and then we're gonna line it all up.
I used to jump without looking. Didn't care if I fell too hard. Now I keep my hands in my pockets. Overthink every scar. I've traded daisy chains for loose ends and all connection. I've traded summer breaks for long nights and lost direction.
Okay, so here is the first shirt panel with all of the lines drawn on. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one off camera, and then I will be back whenever I'm done, and we'll just get the edges hemmed. Really quick, if you are like me and you have never shirred before, I just want to go over this really quick because at first, all of my stitches were looking like these ones at the top. See how there's no shirring happening up at the top? And basically, what I was doing wrong on my machine was I wasn't putting the elastic thread through the metal. So I don't exactly know what it's called, but if you see here, so under here in the bobbin case, there's these little metal hook things. And you want to make sure that this elastic thread is in that metal hook thing. So originally I was just doing it like I normally would, which is just thread it through here and then bring the elastic thread up, and then it didn't have any tension. It was super weird, but I watched multiple videos and I realized that it needs to go through that little metal hook thing. So now we can finally shirr, but I gotta take this bobbin out because we gotta hem the shirt now, but that was my issue. So now that I've got that fixed and everything is shirring properly, I am gonna get started.
Made mistakes, but never learned my lesson. Where did she go? I swear she was just.
Okay, it's the evening, so we are officially night sewing. Anywho, I just finished hemming everything. Don't look too closely because it's not that cute, but it'll work for now. And this is my first time using the hemming foot, so it's just gonna need more practice, basically. So yeah, so next comes the fun part. Next, I'm gonna start shirring everything, and then we'll start putting all of the pieces together, and then we'll have hopefully a cute shirt.
Running the show, so unafraid. Wish I could go back to those days. Where did she go? Is she hiding in me? Behind dreams I used to dream. Help me see the world the way I used to do. My life was just crying.
Okay, so this is what I've got so far. I'm doing a chain stitch on both pieces, so hopefully it fits. It's actually looking kind of small, so this is really shoring up nicely. So I'm just going to keep going and finish all of my lines.
She's blowing home into the breeze. Now I'm scared to make a simple promise. When nothing stays the way it seems. Where did she go? I swear she was just here, running the show, so unafraid. Wish I could go back to those days. Where did she go? Is she hiding in me? Behind dreams I used to dream. Help me see the world the way I used to do. Life was just cruel. Life was just cruel.
So it is 11:11 at night. Make a wish. I went ahead and got all of the shirring done. So as you can see, it is all shirred up. There is the stripes, and then you can see that this is what it looks like. So honestly, it looks kind of small. I'm kind of nervous to put it on, but what I went ahead and did is just chain stitched it, and then I did a loop around. So you can kind of see there's a piece right here of elastic. Anywho, so that's what I did. It took me like 5 bobbins of elastic thread, which is one whole spool of elastic and then more of the second spool of elastic. So just depending on, I guess, how many lines of shirring you do is how much elastic thread you're gonna need. Let me count my lines real quick. So on each panel, there's 34 lines of shirring. So that's why it took so much elastic thread. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm going to go to sleep, and then I will be back in the morning and we will finish the top and do the reveal. It's the next day. I got some rest and I went ahead and cut some bias strips just in case I need them, because the next step is to cut these panels apart and then sew the side seams together. And then what I think I'm gonna do after I just sew these side seams is I'm probably gonna try it on and then figure out where I want to connect the shoulder part. Hopefully this is long enough for the shoulder part. We'll see how it looks. And then I did cut some little strips of bias just in case I need them for the shoulder part, because there is some areas where I did not backstitch because I didn't realize that you could backstitch on the shirring. So I ended up backstitching on the shirring on a lot of other parts whenever I realized that I could actually do it. So just in case I need bias strips, I have those. And I think all I'm gonna do for the side seams is just to do regular zigzag stitch, and then we'll go from there. Yay. Oh my gosh, this is actually looking super cute. I love this fabric. And honestly, this lighting doesn't even really do this fabric much justice. These are so cute. The colors, I love them. So what I'm doing real quick, actually, before I cut these 2 panels apart, is I'm just doing a straight stitch along all of the edges to just lock in those elastics. So I've already done it on this edge. I've done just a simple straight stitch along really close to the edge just to lock in all of these elastics. And then I've already trimmed this edge, so this edge looks nice and clean. And then I just did the straight stitch along this armhole edge. And then now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna trim all of these elastics and threads. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and continue and do it along all of the edges before I go ahead and cut these pieces apart. And I don't even know if I need to do this, but I'm just doing it because this is my first time ever making a top like this, and I want it to last, and I don't want these elastics to come out for any reason. Okay, I forgot I had my camera paused, so I didn't get this part on camera, but I just did my zigzag stitch. And so now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other side and then figure out where I need to close it up on the neckline. But I'm so excited about this. This is gonna be so cute. I am just maybe a little worried about this part. I don't know. It looks kind of too turtlenecky, but we'll see how it looks. Hopefully my microphone is working because I dropped it in a really bad way and it broke and I put it back together. So hopefully you can hear me good. Okay, so I've got the side seams sewn together and I went ahead and tried it on to kind of gauge where to sew up the top. It was actually kind of hard to figure out where to sew up the top, so I think what I'm gonna do is probably just sew like an inch seam on each side at the top for the shoulders, or maybe like 1.5 inches, just like something super short because it seems a little tight at the top. I'm not sure if I did the measurements wrong or if I went too far in with the arm cut curve and then cut too far up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna do the final reveal. And I'm actually really, really excited. I hope this looks good with the final seam on the top because I'm actually kind of worried about it because it does shirr a lot up at the top and I don't want it to shirr up too much in my chest area. I want it to stretch out good. So hopefully the seams will just bring it all together. And if I love this, I want to make more in every single fabric. Who knows, maybe even make a dress. I don't know. We'll see. Are you guys ready for the reveal? All right, everybody, here is the final reveal. All right, so a couple things that I have learned while making this that I'm going to change because I don't know if it's my machine or if it's the fabric. I'll have to try on a different fabric, but I need to adjust the measurements next time because my shirring is like really good. So meaning that it shrinks the fabric really good. So right here in my chest area, it kind of did what I was afraid of. And it's like shirring a little bit too much for me in the chest, which it can be stretched out, but I don't have anything to like stretch it out. I mean, I guess maybe I could try to connect more down here, but I think I might have cut, I might have cut that shoulder curve wrong. I'm not too sure because it does kind of go in more up at the top. Initially, I did like 1.5 inches or 1 inch seam up at the top, but I could not get my head through, so I had to seam rip, and then I did like a short seam, like I did a 1/2 inch seam right here, and then now my head's able to get through. But like I said, see, it just scrunches up a lot right here in the chest. So next time I'm going to make the fabric bigger. I'll do my math different. Maybe instead of like adding 5 inches, maybe I'll add 10 inches to each panel. I'm not too sure, but this is what it looks like. Either way, like, I'm in love. Like, I made this myself and I'm super proud of it. I think that if I did wear this out, I would just have to wear it with a strapless bra, so you didn't see any of the straps. But yeah, and it doesn't really feel, I mean, I just have sensitive skin, so anything that like rubs against it too much is gonna leave a mark. So I think that I won't have that issue whenever I make the fabric bigger next time. But I'm kind of sad I don't have any more of this fabric because I actually really like it. But I'm going to try it again with a different kind of fabric. Maybe I'll go even longer with the length this time and maybe make a dress. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, if you make one of these tops, let me know down below how yours turns out. Definitely test your fabric first. I mean, I kind of did test it, but that was just to try to get the shirring to work. I didn't really measure how long the fabric was versus um how short it got after the shirring. So definitely do that if you're gonna make this. Yes, this is how mine turned out. I feel like if you are smaller in the chest, these measurements might work good for you, but I think that it just stretches out so much down here and not over here. Here is the finished top. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this top, and make one for yourself. It is super duper easy once you get the hang of working with the fabric. Once it starts to shrink up, you just kind of got to stretch it pretty good to work it nicely. But I definitely recommend trying to do something like this. It is super easy. It's just like a rectangle and some elastic thread. So definitely let me know if you make this down below. I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will see you guys in the next video.